Welcome to the podcast editing and support show. My name is Dave. Are you ready? Are you ready? Let's go. We're going to start the episode right now. Happy to have you here. Let's do this. Okay, so we're jumping in again on the proof is in the podcast, how to build your podcast editing business from the inside. We're going to look at community credibility and relationship building here on this episode. It's a little 4-part mini-series we're doing all around strengthening and building up your podcasting editing business. Again, from the inside, it's the best. It's nice and strength. It's a foundation for all that you do. And I'm glad that you're here. And I hope that you find a lot of great information here for you as you build your editing business. I'm Dave. I live in Ontario, Canada. Love podcasting. Love all things podcasting. And I love talking to podcasters and helping people just like you with their shows. If you're looking for an editor, happy to help. Reach out. podcasteditingandssupport.com is my website. All under the umbrella of my main thing, truemediasolutions.ca. Enough plugging, Dave. Get to the stuff. Yes, I gotcha. We're going to talk today about this side, about community credibility and relationship building as a podcast editing and support person. Something that we need to do. We need to put this into place. And first, we're going to start by looking at joining the community as more than just a service provider. I know some podcast editing and support groups, and all they talk about is podcast editing. That's it. They're not part of the community in that they don't podcast. Many of the people in these groups don't even have their own show. And what you'll get in these 4-part little mini-series we're doing is Dave's leaning towards you having your own podcast as an editor so that you can join the community of podcasters. You're not just a service provider. You're a peer. You're a collaborator. You are a colleague in podcasting because you have your own show. True credibility as an editor comes from being recognized as part of the podcasting community, not just a vendor for hire. Podcast hosting sites, for example, complain about podcast editors or producers or support people who have zero knowledge of how podcasting even works, reaching out to their support lines at like Buzzsprout or Captivate or wherever, saying, my show's not on Apple. My client show is not this. My client show is not that. There's something broken on your end. And all it is the editor, the podcast producer, the expert who has a client just doesn't know how podcasting works. And in that moment, that's a good example of a podcaster who does not have their own show but wants to work with as an editor. You need a show. You need to know what's happening in the space. It's true credibility. It helps you move beyond the more traditional service provider boundaries that are associated with podcast editing and support by showing up in industry forums, virtual meetups, online groups as a peer, someone to collaborate with, not just to advertise your business. And that's what's really pushes people away from you. You're just there to throw a business card in their face. Check me out. I'm an editor. Woo! But to engage in genuine conversation, offer advice, and celebrate other people's successes, podcaster and podcaster, you're on the same level. It's why I'm doing this show. I'm a podcaster. I'm also an editor. I do both. And I hope there's a lot of value in what we talk about here that introduces you to me, to what I do, without it being heavy-handed. We join the community. Our approach, then we can then come to potential clients with humility, curiosity, as one of us. Not as somebody coming in here to sell something to us, but one of us. We share the same enthusiasm for podcasting. We want to learn, and we're vulnerable when it comes to what it takes to be a podcaster. We're in this together. We are drinking our own Kool-Aid, as they say, eating our own dog food, which, again, I actually worked for a large pet company, and we would have vendors come into the office and actually eat the dog food to show you how edible it was and how great tasting. I never partook in that. No, But apparently it is a thing to actually eat your own dog food. We need to do that as podcasters, as people who help people who podcast. We need our own show. That's my belief. I'm going to keep waving this flag. I might be annoying to you, but I really believe it. The other part is we need to share our own podcast journey, and this will help to deepen the bonds that we have with our clients. When we openly discuss our own story, how we launched our podcast, some of the missteps that we've taken and what we've done in the past that haven't worked out so well, kind of the behind the scenes and the learning moments of being a podcaster, what we've done to grow our show, and how we've grown as a creator or an editor. It helps to build that bond between us and our potential client. It lets other people see our work in progress, not just your best work, but your most recent work. It fosters more of an authentic, lasting relationships between the listeners as potential clients related to their own struggles and triumphs. They see themselves in you. They see their own journey reflected in your podcast and how you're doing your show. And they see you growing. As an editor, if you don't have a show, all they can see is your results. They don't see your growth. We need to show growth. And by having our own show, we demonstrate our own growth as we are also serving others. We can use our podcast and our content to spotlight our personality. Because working with somebody you like is much better than working with somebody you don't like. We can show our philosophy on podcasting, on audio editing, and our personal commitment to the craft of podcasting. And all of these things to help ensure our clients experience you as a guide, not just a technician. You're not just here to push buttons and produce results. You're also here to be part of the community. By leveraging our collaborations, peer interviews, and cross-promotion, we help to build community credibility and relationships as podcast editors. Having our own show, being in the space, being an active podcaster alongside of our clients helps to build trust and helps us to reach out to collaborate with other podcasters through guest segments, being on each other's shows, roundtables, editor showcases, panel discussions. We get to also do some cross-promotion, swapping intros and sharing each other's episodes. It expands our network and helps us to demonstrate that we're a trustworthy person through peer endorsement. Because I'm a podcaster, you're a podcaster, we work together, we help each other grow each other's shows. We're in each other's corners. A much better spot in a position to go and look for new clients is when you're an active part of the community. Peer interviews position you as both a learner and a teacher. On my How to Podcast series, it's almost 500, 600 episodes in that show at the time of recording. I bring on co-hosts on that show, people who do podcasting differently than I do in some cases. And I get to learn from them. It's not about look at Dave, look at Dave, look at Dave. It's let's bring on another person and see their approach to podcasting. And when it differs, that's great because now you have options. And you realize there's not just one way to podcast. Again, I listen to gurus who create false programs and false certifications for editors and podcasters and podcast producers. They create this program on Canva, sell it for $2,000 and make you a certified podcaster. It's ridiculous. It's not real. It's not verified by any university, any teaching profession. It's just some person with Canva creating a course. Anybody can do that. And what happens is they create a bunch of carbon copy versions of the host who created the program. And all they do is take his content, their content, and go out into the world and just recycle it. It's not even their own thoughts. It's just, here's what they told me to say. I create a show. I am now teaching podcasting, and I'm just going to repeat all of the things that they've said. I'm just a parrot. That's all I am. I'm just a parrot. A trained parrot is what you are for $2,000. I don't get that. I wouldn't sign up for that, and I would steer people away from that. And hopefully you don't get caught in that trap. But working alongside with your peers as a podcaster, as a fellow podcaster, you're both the learner and the teacher in this moment. And it makes you more approachable and helps to create an opportunity for support for businesses and for creating valuable networking opportunity by simply being out in there in the space. It also helps us as far as our listening and how we empathize with people and how we troubleshoot in real time as editors. Being in the community helps. Actively listening in community spaces, listening to the conversation within the confines of the podcasting world, socially and virtually or locally, as we listen to what's happening and what's being said in podcasting, it helps us to offer our own thoughtful input as a peer, as a fellow creative, not just an editor coming from the outside into the world of podcasting. We live in the world of podcasting because we are a podcaster. It helps us to troubleshoot issues or simply empathize with the struggles that other podcasters have. And we share the same voice. We can solve problems in real time through quick tips and live Q&As, office hours you'll hear about people using. All of these are great ways to communicate and connect with people and demonstrate that you're invested in everyone's long-term growth, not just your contract outcomes and not just your services. We have an empathetic approach to what we do and how we help. And our present quickly solidifies our status as a trusted peer. We're fostering referrals and we're growing our business organically. By taking all of these strategies, as podcast editors, we're positioned as a desirable, indispensable collaborator and valued member of the community rather than just a transactional vendor. It's a crucial distinction, and it'll help you to be sustainable and build a trust-based business that's going to grow over time. Be part of the community. Don't just sit on the outside looking in. Get in, like we talk about, get in the pool and stop hanging around the outside. Get in there and swim with the other podcasters. That's where you're going to build long-lasting relationships. You're going to build collaborations, and opportunities will find you by you being in the space. So, if you haven't got wet yet and haven't got in the pool, it's time to take a dip. It's time to get into the pool. Start your podcast in addition to what you do as an editor and a support person. It's going to help you. It really is. Thanks for listening to the Podcast Editing and Support Show. Visit us at podcasteditingandsupport.com, podcasteditingandsupport.com. We would love to help you find a great podcast editor, or if you want to hire us, we would love to work with you. Podcasteditingandsupport.com. Catch you on the next episode. Take care.